You see this is the very first thing a potential renter sees when they get on Turo. And if your listing looks like this, then your chances of making any money on Turo are over or little to none. So I'm going to show you the 8 things you can do to transform your Turo listing in 10 minutes from the example I just showed you to this amazing listing right here. And this is going to help you maximize your earning potential on Turo. So let's dive in. Okay, now I guarantee you, if you can execute on the 8 simple techniques that I'm going to show you on how to maximize your Turo listing, you are going to get a boost in views. It's going to be shown in front of more people, and I can promise you that your Turo listing and your Turo car is going to perform significantly better, which is going to make you more money. So let's start off with number 1. The number 1 thing that you have to do is make sure you have at least 10 or more high resolution photos that are beautifully taken for your Turo listing. Now, for today's example, we are going to use one of my powerhost.club community members, Michael, who's a great host friend of mine, and I literally consider him the creme de la creme of Turo hosts, and he has the perfect Turo listing in my opinion. Now, Michael recently listed a 2020 Porsche 911, which is absolutely stunning. And you can just see right here, right away. We know that Michael has 20 photos on his listing. We can see the count right here. And Turo will allow you to have a maximum of 20 photos. So he has more than 10 high resolution photos, which means according to Turo's algorithm, this is going to open him up to 50% more views on his listing. That's how significant it is to have great photos and a minimum of 10 photos on your listings. So if we quickly just scroll through his images, we can see here just how beautifully and thoughtfully they are taken. They're very scenic. He's highlighting some of the very beautiful features of this 911, and it is just absolutely stunning. Now, it's a stunning car on its own, but you can just see from the photos that are taken with the detail, this will make anyone want to rent this car. Now, imagine you're scrolling through a bunch of Turo listings, you're doing a search because you're going on a vacation, and when this beautiful Porsche 911 pops up, it is so hard to think that you're not going to click on it and try to take a look at what is this gorgeous car and is it going to be interesting you to list. So the number 1 thing you want to do is make sure you have at least 10 high resolution photos, which is going to open you up to 50% more views. And of course, you want it to be eye-catching because that is the number 1 thing that a potential renter sees, and that's where you want to close them on renting a car from you. Now, the number 2 thing that you want to do is make sure that you have a very descriptive description in your Turo profile. Now, one of the things that I love to utilize for this is something called the ADA formula. Now, this is very well known in the copywriting world, and it's how to convert your readers into paying customers. So that means that you want to grab their attention, grab their interest, touch on their desires, and then you want to make sure that you ask them to go ahead and rent from you. So there is a call to action. So right here, you can see that Michael has done a beautiful job at describing just how amazing this Porsche 911 is, all the beautiful features that come with it. You know, even the price tag on how much this car costs, it just alludes to you, the perceived value on a car like this. So when you look at the day rate, you think, oh, that totally makes sense because this is almost $120,000. So Michael has just done an amazing job at describing it. And I just love that he goes the extra mile and really emphasizes the experience. And he ends with, lastly, it's not just about the car. I want you to have a great experience overall. If you need to list a list of restaurants or places to go while you're in town, let me know. I can definitely point you in the right direction, ranging from craft cocktails to boba tea or high-end sushi to beer-battered fish and chips. And so that is just a full encompassing experience that really just makes a listing so attractive to a potential renter. Okay, the number 3 thing is features, right? Sometimes when people rent cars, they are looking for particular features that are gonna make their experience that much more enjoyable. So for example, one of the things that stood out to me right away here, because something I look for, is a toll pass, because oftentimes when you're traveling to new places, there are toll roads and it can be confusing on whether or not the car has a toll pass, who's responsible for those charges, how does it all work? I recently went to Italy and my car rental did not have a toll pass, and let's just say I got yelled at by many Italian toll road workers who were not happy that I was driving through without a toll pass. So this can really make things a lot easier. Plus you have beautiful features like Apple CarPlay, heated seats, a sunroof, and that just makes the experience all the more better. All right, number 4, trip extras. The beautiful thing about trip extras on a Turo listing is that you get to keep 90% of the earnings of any extras that are added on. So depending on where you're located, you can offer things like beach chairs, coolers, umbrellas, bicycles, scooters, depending on what people are indulging in. And you can even do simple things like prepaid fuel, again, providing that convenience factor to your renters if they don't want to have the hassle of going to a gas station, filling up and things like that. They can just pick the prepaid fuel option and they're set and ready to go. And then the next thing, which I think is really important, and if you don't have this already, which I find that a lot of hosts don't, this is something that you definitely want to include, which is guidelines and FAQs. So this really helps the renter, especially somebody who is new to the Turo platform, which many people are, kind of understand, okay, how does this work? What are all the important details and information? So when you have your guidelines, things like, no smoking, curb rash, pets, dogs, things like that, like Michael has outlined here, it makes it a lot easier for people. And then there are no surprise incidents that you as a host has to deal with, or any surprise costs to the guests, because everyone has full transparency and is in the know of how it all works and how it all goes down. The FAQ I absolutely love, because with the FAQ, what happens over time as people rent your cars, you'll really tune into the frequently asked questions that people have. Then what you can do as a host is just go ahead and stick that in the FAQ section. And that way in the future, it minimizes any additional communication and time on your end, because people get to just read it right here and then they know, and then it doesn't really leave anything to the imagination. And it also makes renters feel so confident about the car rental process and just feeling comfortable in knowing that, hey, I understand how this all works, how this host works, so I'm ready to go. So it makes them very comfortable in the experience. Now, the number 6 thing is responding to your ratings and reviews. What I love about this is that when you respond to your guest, right, as you can see here, Michael has glowing reviews and he always takes the time out to just send a little thank you and acknowledge his guest for renting from him. And I think this really adds a really nice personal touch to you as a host. And it lets your future renters know that, hey, you are somebody who is very caring and very engaged and in tune with your renters. So this gives you a certain type of reputation when somebody is thinking about booking from you, which really helps them make the decision that, hey, I want to rent from you because you just seem like a wholesome, responsible person who's going to help me have a great experience and a seamless trip. So if you can take a couple of minutes just to respond to some of the reviews you get, it just portrays an amazing image. And then number 7, this is a very easy thing to do, which oftentimes I think people miss out on, is you want to really fill out your profile information. So real quick, big shout out to Michael and just this beautiful collection of cars that he has. But what really sets Michael apart, in my opinion, is his attention to detail. So even here in his About Me section, right, you really feel like you get a feel for who he is. So he says, my goal is to provide the best client experience with my fleet of high-end cars. You'll find in my reviews that I am very responsive, accessible, and flexible with my guests. Message or call me anytime. Personally, I am passionate about cars and I love chatting with my guests about their cars and driving experience. I mean, that right there, to me as a potential renter, gives me so much comfort and actually gets me excited that I'm renting from somebody who is just as excited as hosting their cars on the platform, and that it's not a job and it's not a chore, but it's something that they actually enjoy, which is going to give me an enjoyable experience as a host. Now, on the final note, the most important thing that I think that you can do, right, after you've checked off all of these boxes, that way you are really showing up in the algorithm, is baking in a lot of value into your listings, right? So what I mean by that is having really nice price points that make sense for your market, offering things like delivery. What I love here in Michael's description is he outlines and lets people know, hey, I can deliver the car and, I'm available for Pensacola Airport or whatever locations are near you. And you can see that down here as well, a nice sort of breakdown of all the areas that Michael's car is available in. And that just lets the guests know, hey, these are the options that I have. So if you find these tips helpful and you want to dive a little bit deeper on how you can maximize your Turo listings so that you can maximize your Turo earnings, check out my website, powerhost.club, and that is going to give you a full walkthrough on exactly what you need to do and how you need to do it.